So I think a lot of people voted for you expecting you to put mental health first. So I'm just wondering what you've done to promote that and the various campaigns associated.
Yeah, so my main focus since my time in office, as it was during my election, has been on intermission. So the process of intermission at the moment is basically, in general, quite scary, quite confusing for students. So what we've been doing is, first we've put on events called Intermission Welcome Back that we've had in the CUSU lounge. They've been really well attended by students. And I think CUSU is really well placed to do that kind of thing, because in each college there may be quite a small number of people returning from intermission, but at a university-wide level there's enough to have a real sense of solidarity. And last year CUSU created like a guide to intermission that I urge anyone to check out if they do have questions. But then also at like the institutional level, that we're going to have an intermission forum in next term with senior tutors, the Disability Resource Centre, the University Counselling Service, and CUS, the Student Youth Advice Service. So that's been my big focus.
And one aspect you mentioned in your manifesto is supervisor training. You said that's one answer, encouraging supervisors to consider the individual circumstances with each deadline and so on. I was wondering what the progress is on that.
So the reason supervisor training was on my manifesto was because of the overall headline of workload, which is such a big issue for Cambridge students. Like, the rates of students who think that their workload is healthy and manageable are actually really sad. So supervisor training was one idea as a way to attack that issue. And actually there has been some progress in terms of, there's been like a new supervisor guide that was written at the end of last year that I think is really good. But me and myself and Martha, the education officer, have kind of taken a new idea of how to tackle workload, which is that it's actually really hard to deal with it at a university-wide level. So instead we're going to target the 3 faculties that have the lowest rates of satisfaction with workload. Well, the lowest science, the lowest vocational, and the lowest arts and humanities. And we're going to take those ones as examples and really try and tackle the issue in those faculties, so that then you can spread that by best practice. So I think it's one of those things where you learn so much when you come into office. I think supervisor training is so important, and we are involved in what they do in terms of supervisor training, but there's much more that needs to be done than that. And so I think this new idea, hopefully, that will be launching at near the end of this term. We've started discussing with the relevant people in the university. So
it sounds like you've had to kind of hone your approach slightly, or maybe some would say even reduce it in a way. I would actually say that sort of increase it, because supervisor training is one small element of workload. Whereas if you look at the holistic problem in a faculty, then you actually can get a much broader response. Okay, I want to ask you, just to finish on mental health. Obviously we're very lucky in Cambridge to have a lot of big institutions involved. There's Student Minds, Open Minds, and the Conscious team who obviously have the ball and so on. How much involvement you've had with them, obviously mental health being one of your priorities?
Normally cross-publicisation, is that a word? So in terms of, if they want us to promo an event, we'll promo it. Especially Student Minds released this new guide, online guide to mental health. And not only did I promo that myself, but also included it in senior tutors bulletin that we send out. So that's the kind of thing we normally do. If they ever get in touch, we're there. And Conscious asked me to help them promo their ball, but then they didn't use the footage of me. I don't think it was very well. I don't think I was. So, but I'm here to, whenever they approach me, I'm there. So, but, and also Misha often does stuff with them as well.
I think some people might expect you to be approaching them as well, actually. So we asked Student Minds Cambridge and Open Minds and Conscious whether they've heard from you directly. They're actually quite disappointed. They said, we haven't heard a peep from Daisy.
See, normally I use Facebook, and Student Minds, Open Minds, I haven't been chatting with them. Conscious I have, and Student Minds I have, so maybe the team's changed over.
Well, Conscious said they had to get in touch with you first. So
no, they got in touch with me. But it was a new scheme, so I hadn't actually heard about it before they got in touch with me.
Is that something you might, think to work on in the future, to be more proactive in reaching out to these, big campaigns?
Yeah, 100%. But I do try. But there's quite a lot going on in Cambridge. There's a really huge number of different student groups, and I try and get in touch with them, and often I do. So maybe the team's changing.